Hey everybody, Roman versus with the Squashfest podcast and my co-host.
One warmly hearted Black Widow fan, the boy Harm. It's the name
Black.
of her finishing move.
Oh, is it?
It's like I need you to look up the AJ Lee
I wasn't watching back then.
history. I am aware. So SmackDown.
SmackDown.
Um,
We had
I'm of two minds.
okay.
Obviously, you had the big return that everybody knew was coming, but highly anticipated at the end.
Okay.
The rest of the show was just like, oh,
Well, the rest of the show is basically John Cena.
we'll get into that. Oh God. Yeah, between the Cena, because there was an hour in between the end of the Cena segment and the start of the Punk Becky uh Seth segment that was just like, oh, we're just throwing stuff in here just because. And I felt like I feel like they told everyone who was at Clash in Paris, and like, y'all don't need to come to Chicago. Y'all can take all a week off,
Hmm.
except for Cena and Becky and Seth and Punk. Everybody else was just like, anybody who wasn't in Paris, we got you on the following Friday. But for the Chicago show, which is usually one of the bigger televised shows of the year, uh, they're like, nah, Street Profits, we don't need to do this week. Wyatt's, take the week off. Uh, Miz and Mello were on the show for a backstage segment. I'll give them that. But other than that, it was a 2 segment show, and it was fine. It was a entertaining 2 segment show, but it was a 2 segment show.
Hmm.
So we kick off SmackDown with John Felix Anthony Cena, and he gets into the ring, and it was a 10-minute promo about how it means so much to him to be in the city of Chicago for his final SmackDown. Uh, it's the arena that he lost the World Heavyweight Championship to Punk in at Money in the Bank 2011. It's the arena that, if I read correctly last night, that he made his SmackDown debut as well. I believe. It's and how warmly he's being received by the fans,
Mm-hmm.
because Chicago, obviously, one of the hotbeds of professional wrestling, one of the few crowds that are different from the rest of the crowds. They'll usually cheer the bad guys and boo the good guys, but they were 100% pro John Cena last night. They were cheering
That's
him and
putting it
praising him.
mildly. These guys were booing Sami Zayn.
We'll get to that, but I feel like that's a booing Sami Zayn. Oh God, I they wanted more John Cena and
Yep.
less of anybody else last night, and
Yep.
that's what it was.
I mean, that's
Sammy
what
was
they
put
got
in,
though.
yeah, but Sammy was put in a very unforgiving situation,
Yeah.
where it's like, we want to have Cena, we want to have him in Chicago, we want to have him have his moment, and we want to have him wrestle for the final time in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we put Cena against? Where not necessarily he's going to take a loss, but who do we put him against that for the end of the match shenanigans doesn't hurt that person either? And Sammy was just that guy. So like I said, Cena cut a 10-minute promo thanking the fans thanking him back. Eventually, Sami Zayn, when he's about to leave, Sami Zayn comes up, and Sammy takes the roundabout way to say thank you for everything you've done for the years, and thank you for having the John Cena Open Challenge, which allowed me to make my main roster debut, and a lot of other young wrestlers being able to make their debuts. And I want to carry on this tradition. I want to have the Sami Zayn Open U.S. Open Challenge, which started last night. And he goes, "I want the first person to be John Cena." So they have the match, and it's a really fun match. Cena is on his best. I'm a 2K25 Create a Wrestler tour for his final leg of his tour.
The way you
This
describe
man,
things makes me want to hit you sometimes.
why?
Create a
It's like,
character like
yes, it's like when you create a wrestler and it's like, and you're 10 years old and you're like, I want to put everybody's finishing move and make it just a normal move.
mm-hmm.
Because last night, he paid tribute to Kevin Owens, Kurt Angle, Edge, and there was a fourth one.
You thought JBL with the
I thought JBL was
clothesline.
close on, but there was another one I just saw on TikTok. Oh, CM Punk, the GTS.
Mm.
It's a really fun match. These guys are kicking out of each other's finishers because again, you need to protect the both of them. I believe at least Sami Zayn is in line for a main event style push next year. Maybe he wins the Rumble, so you have to start building him up as this guy who overcomes everything. So he kicked out of two AAs and then eventually he got hit with a super AA. Cena kicked out of two Haluva kicks and a Blue Thunder Bomb during this match. After the super AA, both men are selling on the ground, and I was like, this is the moment where Brock comes out.
First off, I called it.
Well, I said it, but you guys talked over me, and then you said it.
No, BS. You didn't.
I literally said this is the moment Brock comes out, but you and Tommy were saying something else.
No, I said earlier in the match. I said, how crazy would it be if you hear no, and then you were like, yeah, that'd be crazy. Blah 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 blah.
I didn't say that. I anticipated it. I anticipated Chicago being this. I anticipated Brock being there last night. We didn't talk about it. I 100% did.
Okay.
But that's what I said when you said Cena's not gonna win, and I said shenanigans. That's what I meant by shenanigans. Okay. Brock Lesnar. I anticipated Brock being there.
Okay.
So Brock comes out and Cowboy Brock attire, looking super massively jacked for a 40-something-year-old.
Yep.
Pulls out the referee, blasts the referee, hits Sami Zayn with an F5, hits Cena with two F5s, and stands over them and then walks out. And then coming out of the break, he's walking through Gorilla, and he looks at the camera and said, "John Cena, I'll see you at WrestlePalooza, bitch." And that was the first 45 minutes of a 2-hour SmackDown. That segment was ridiculously long. Mm-hmm. It was entertaining. I understand you need to get to Brock Cena to sell the ESPN show, mm-hmm. but this segment could have been cut by at least 10 minutes. I don't think the match itself needed to be as long as that match was. But to my point earlier, I think they told everybody else, stay home. We want to have these moments for John, mm-hmm. and eventually for the returning of Mrs. Phil Brooks at the end of the show. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, it was fun. We have seven more Cena appearances. I'm fine with them, but if we're gonna get 7 more glazings of John Cena in every city, I could mute it. That's just the way I am right now. He's an icon. He's one of the greatest WWE superstars of all time. But I don't need to see the same thing for the next 7 times he's on screen.
It's not the same thing because you had a match that you didn't anticipate.
I'm talking about the pre-match stuff. I don't need Cena going to every town and thanking every town. That's gonna annoy me. That's gonna become very, very tiresome. And I know you're not gonna get it every time because some of those towns he's gonna have matches in. So he may get 2 or 3 more of these. But it was just a lot last night.
It's fine. You need to put it into perspective. You're never gonna see these again.
I'm aware, and I understand they're trying to pay homage to one of the top WWE superstars of all time on his way out. But like I said, it was just a lot last night.
No, it was a lot last night.
We need to get through this. We need to go. Everybody in that crowd is there for one reason, and it's not for John Cena, even though they love John Cena. Everybody in that crowd last night was to get to the main event. Mm-hmm. So we need to get through that. But yeah, it was a fine match, fine segment. Ended in a no contest because of Brock. So then we get a vignette backstage for Damian Priest and for Aleister Black, and he's just a lot. He said last week. Uh, I don't think any of us paid any attention to what he said, so let's just get into the match. So the match goes Priest and Black. Priest is making his entrance, and he gets attacked by Aleister Black from behind, and he throws him into the ring post. He throws him into the steel steps, and they go to commercial. And coming out of commercial, Damian Priest is acting like he has a concussion, and the referees and the stagehands and everybody else trying to tell him you can't go out to the ring. You need to be checked by medical. Blah 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 blah. Priest breaks through. They go into the ring, and these guys have a good match. They always have a good match. I liken it as much as you're gonna hate me to say this. I liken their feud to Rusev and Sheamus, two guys who just want to fight each other.
Why would I be mad at that? That's exactly what this is. It's a complete waste of
Because
time.
you love Damian Priest, and I told you Damian Priest. It's not. It is a complete waste of time, but essentially you're gonna get Aleister Black over with this feud.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I
but
think is crap because every week he's getting over on Damien. So what's the point?
we gotta make him look strong. I said that Damian Priest is an upper mid Carter at best at this point of his career, and that's crazy because he was just a world heavyweight champion less than a year ago, or about a year ago. So, but he's there to get Aleister Black over. These guys have
No,
very
but
similar.
again, there's supposed to be some sort of back and forth. There has not been a fourth.
I feel like there was a week where Priest might
1 week. Every other week he keeps on getting demolished.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong.
That's my complaint. Is there's no back and forth.
All right. Well, Aleister Black wins with a black mass after pushing the referee out the way. That's really it. That's all. That's all I got. A lot of martial arts style wrestling between the two of them because their wrestling styles are similar. Not that they're exactly the same, but they're similar. They're very.
All right.
They're
Whatever.
very
Let's say they finish this. What do you do
Oh,
with
it's not
both of
over.
them? I'm saying let's say. I know it's not over. We need like 8 more episodes of this. Clearly.
Well, the problem is, and I said this before, Aleister Black, when he's done with Priest, should be Cody's next feud after Drew McIntyre. The problem is Cody's not on TV right now because he's shooting Street Fighter. So he's not even. I don't even think he's going to be at WrestlePalooza to have the match against Drew. I think we're going Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre at WrestlePalooza, which is they've been building to. So we're going to prolong out Cody Drew probably until Perth in October, and then Survivor Series. You know they never do championship matches. Cody will probably be involved in the Bloodline Vision story somehow for that story. So we're looking at not having a new Cody feud till maybe the December pay-per-view or a Royal Rumble. So what do you do with Aleister Black if that is the route they want to take? They want to go Aleister Black, Cody after this. What do you do with Aleister Black for the next 3 months? We're gonna
Damian Priest.
I was gonna say you can prolong this Damian Priest feud out for the next 12 weeks.
Oh, that's terrible.
To your point, Priest starts getting wins and over on him because there's not much else you can do. I mean, you can do Aleister Black, Sami Zayn, maybe if you want to go that route. If you want to get him away from Damian Priest and put him in a feud for a title, I guess you can do that. I don't know, but the problem is everything is being held up creatively because your world champion is off TV for so long.
Mm-hmm. This is why he shouldn't be champion.
I mean, yes, I agree. I mean, Cody's boring to us. We know this, but he is the new John Cena. Like he's gonna be perpetually in the main event for the next 5 to 10 years.
Which I get, but my thing is that he's not around right now, and you're not defending that title, which is crazy too because you're not defending any of the other titles too either in the
Both
absence.
U.S. championships got defended last night.
Yeah, no, I know. I said this week, but
Yeah.
but up until now they still wasn't doing much.
All right. So coming out of this match or before this match, it doesn't even matter. Miz and Mello are in the back talking to Nick Aldis. Mello is trying to tell him he wants his shot at the United States Championship. He's done waiting around. Miz cuts him off and says, "No, we want our shot at the tag team championships because we've been getting wins every single week on SmackDown."
But they lost last week or the week before.
No, they didn't. They
Yes,
won.
for the number one contender against the Street
Oh,
Profits.
they
They
lost.
lost.
They lost the
And,
number one
and
contender
then
to the
this,
Street Profits. They won
yes,
2 matches before that.
yes,
Again, over Motor City Machine Guns and Fraxia.
yes.
But Street Profits now lost, so now Miz. The jump in Miz's mind was like, the guys who beat us for the number one contenders just lost their opportunity.
So it should
We
be
should
us
now
next.
be number one contenders. That's the jump he's making.
No, I get it.
And so Miz is trying to get that. Nick Aldis kind of brushes him off, and then Becky Lynch arrives, pulling into the arena, coming out of this. And it's just like, oh, yep. And at that moment, it's like we went into SmackDown with doubt on whether or not they were actually going to do an AJ Lee return, because it was AJ or it was Rhea. That's what we kept saying.
Yeah.
When I saw Becky Lynch in the arena last night, I was like, there's no way this is not AJ Lee.
Yeah.
If she's going to be in the ring for that, you're going to have the big moment. That was what my mentality. Because you could have just had Punk come out and cut a promo and have Rhea come out. But yeah, that was what my takeaway. All right, so then we get Mia Yim versus Julia for the Women's United States Championship. These women, for as good as they both are, have absolutely zero chemistry in that ring.
That's exactly what I felt.
This was, and how could they? Julia's never on TV. Michin is used when break glass when you need a small feud for somebody who doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah.
Like, how could they never get a chance to work together?
Mm-hmm.
There were spots in this that looked sometimes really, really bad, and it's just like.
But it's not their fault.
It's not their fault, but I understand you're trying to get Julia over. You're trying to get that women's championship over, that women's United States championship over. But this is not the way to do it.
I was gonna say, are they trying? Because they barely defend it, and there's nobody to really go for it right now. They don't have much on SmackDown. Yeah.
I talked about this last week. You got to start calling up women from NXT if this is what you're gonna do. Like, you can't keep having the same 4 women going for the United States Championship. And it's Mia Yim, Chelsea Green, Zelina Vega, Julia.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the entirety of your SmackDown Women's Division that's not embroiled in Tiffany Stratton's World Championship picture.
Or the tag, because theoretically, now that's where they're pulling Chelsea and Secret Hervis.
Yeah.
And then you have Alexa and Charlotte over there. So realistically.
Yeah. Because Nia, Tiffany, Jade are involved in one and for one title, and you have 4 women for the other title, and you're pulling Chelsea Green out to elevate the women's tag team championships, even though she's not actually wrestling for the women's tag team championships.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So they need to bring up more women's wrestlers. They have at least 6 or 7 women on NXT who are ready for main roster time. Start bringing them up after the new season in October or the draft if they're doing a draft. Start bringing some of them up, because Jordan Grace, Jada Parker, Lola Vice, Toxic Femininity, that's not their name. Fatal Influence, Toxic Femininity was them under Mandy Rose. Fatal Influence, there's a plethora of women's wrestlers on NXT who are ready for main roster. That could really bolster those women's divisions. All right, we got a video package for McIntyre. Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. That just turned him into a vampire. Um, it was fine. Again, we're gonna keep doing this until we announce the WrestlePalooza match, which is in a week and a half. Actually, is it next week? No, it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It's the 20th. It's 2 weeks. Um, yeah.
I'm not
And then
interested in this match.
So my thing about Drew and Randy is, and I love both guys.
Mhm.
When Drew was babyface during the pandemic, and he was the world heavyweight champion. Obviously, this is pre-Cody while he was still in AEW. They had this feud. They had like 4 matches between Drew and Randy when Randy was heel and Drew was babyface. I don't need this again. And it doesn't feel like that long ago. I know I'm talking about something from 5 years ago, but it does not feel like it was that long ago that we've seen this. And the premise of this feud is you attacked Cody. Cody's my friend. I attack you. That's the premise of this feud.
Yeah.
That's not compelling to me.
It's not.
Like that's just like, what do we do with them? How do we keep Drew hot until Cody gets back? We have him face Randy Orton. The match will be fine. The match will be good because both these guys are really good in the ring. But the build to this match has not been good. This is not something that somebody would have wanted and say, you know what I want to see? Drew McIntyre facing Randy Orton, because why not? That's just like, no, I didn't need that. All right. So the main event segment. Seth Rollins makes his way out first. And doesn't even make his way out. He stands in a box with the fans. And he's cutting a promo. He's doing Seth Rollins. And he goes, and I'm going to introduce you to my wife, the greatest women's wrestler of all time, Becky Lynch. And Becky makes her way out to the ring. And they're playing it up. And they really don't really say anything. Becky's yelling at the crowd, saying, I'm the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Respect me. They're booing the crap out of her.
Yep.
Um,
Sports Illustrated this. Blah, blah,
Sports
blah,
Illustrated
blah.
that. Both Seth and Becky were wearing. Seth is a Chicago Bears fan for some reason, but they're both wearing orange to match each other and try to play up to the crowd and try to get cheered because they're wearing the team colors of the city. But they weren't going to get cheered there. Not in that city. Not with Punk coming out. Not with the return at the end. Eventually, Punk comes out, confronts Becky, says the same thing he said on Monday. Your husband's a coward. He's standing up there, standing behind the fans. He stands behind Paul Heyman. He stands behind his goons. He stands behind his wife. Your husband is a coward. And I feel like they messed up maybe because he said the same thing twice. Becky cuts him off, and then he says it again.
Yeah.
Talks about how much of a coward Seth is. And so Becky just starts slapping him again. And Punk makes his way out of the ring. And he said, Becky, you know you messed up, right? In his best menace to society impression. You know you messed up now, right? Because I would never put my hands on a woman. But I know somebody who will. And they let the crowd milk it for about 5 seconds. And AJ Lee's music hits, though. And the crowd goes nuts. She comes out. She does her I'm crazy skip to the ring, which I love. It's amazing. She's so good. She looks great. $1,000,000. She has herself in incredible shape. She does her little dance around the ring. She walks up. She gives Punk the eyes because obviously it's her husband. And then she gets in the ring. And I love the fact that she did not attack Becky right away. She let the crowd soak in the moment of the return. She hit all her things. She got in the ring. She sat on the ring ropes the way she used to 10, 11 years ago. And then Becky's selling fear. Seth is selling shock because they didn't expect this to happen. Becky goes to attack AJ. AJ hits her with a double leg, hits her with elbows and punches. Then she hits her with a Luthez, starts punching her, and Becky runs away. Once Becky gets out of the ring is when Seth finally makes his way down to ringside and still fearful of Punk, does not jump over the ring, over the barricade to help his wife until Punk gets in the ring to embrace his wife. So Seth is really playing up this coward stuff so much because again, I get it. If he would have jumped that barricade, tried to help Becky, Punk would have attacked him.
Mm-hmm.
So he's not trying to do that. But I said this the other day on Monday. My wife is in the ring on Monday with CM Punk. I know you're not anticipating CM Punk attacking Becky Lynch, but my wife is in the ring with CM Punk. I'm going to be there to back her up. My wife just got her ass beat by a returning veteran from 11 years ago who has every reason to want to beat her down because my wife has put hands on her husband twice now. I should be there to back my wife up. But he's such a coward that he's not willing to do so. He's willing to let Becky take the beat down for him,
Mm-hmm.
which plays into what Punk is saying. This segment was great. This was AJ Lee's return was great. Everybody, if you've been on TikTok, on social media, all of the wrestling creators and influencers are posting their reactions. But we'll see. We know we're getting this mixed tag match at WrestlePalooza. There were rumors that AJ's contract she signed was not just for the WrestlePalooza match, that she's going to be there long term. I saw something that this could be actually be a multi-year deal for AJ Lee, so she might be there for a while.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so I mean, it's gonna be similar to I believe it'll be similar to a Cena schedule. She's not going to be there all the time.
Yeah,
she has her own things she does in her real life. She has a production company. She has she writes comic books. She's an author. Like she's not going to be on the road every week.
but she's also not doing anything that requires her to be away crazy amounts of time. Yeah,
correct.
like all those careers, you can do that from the road for the most part.
She could. You're right. I mean, maybe not the production company one. Like if you have something that's actively in development, you need to be there sometimes. So
yeah, sometimes. And that's if she has anything currently.
Yeah. But, this was great.
Everybody was super mega excited. I was okay either way. For me,
you weren't watching during AJ.
That's what I'm saying. If it was Rhea, I'd have been fine. I think AJ's return is cool.
I think this is the one time where Rhea Ripley is a disappointment.
No, she'd have gotten booed.
100%.
And you don't want to do that to her.
She would have gotten booed there. She would have. No, but AJ Lee, and I said this to you yesterday. AJ Lee was the anti-diva. Like she was not around during what we call the women's revolution of the Four Horsewomen. She wasn't around during the Sasha era. She wasn't around in the Charlotte era. She retired the night after Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase at WrestleMania 31. It was 10 years ago. That was her last match on Raw. So she's been gone that long. She was the anti-diva in an era when women's wrestling in WWE was not really elevated. You had your Nikki Bellas, you had your Brie Bellas, you had your Alicia Foxes, you had your Melinas, you had your Michelle McCools, you had your Laylas, Kelly Kellys. Like you had women who were on TV because Vince wanted very attractive women on television, and that's the way professional wrestling has always been. AJ Lee was one of the first, and I'll throw Paige in there as well. Those women, when they came to WWE, they were the start. Natalia, I'll put Natalia in there too. They started truly changing the way women's wrestling was viewed. They were the ones who made people pay attention to the matches. And AJ had such a charming personality. On top of that, she looks like the girl next door. She looks like everybody's female best friend. She played that crazy character so well. To one point where they made her Daniel Bryan's girlfriend on screen. They made her the GM of Raw. They kept her around in different ways, even if she wasn't like main eventing the women's scene. So the level of love that wrestling fans have for AJ Lee it's up there. And I know you weren't watching back this, so you don't have that affinity for her.
I don't.
But she is a pioneer when it comes to women's wrestling. she is that important. There is so many women who look up to her. Roxanne Perez being one I can think off the top of my head, who say Punk and AJ Lee are her wrestling parents. Those are the ones who she looked up to growing up. Those are the ones she reaches out to in real life when she needs advice. Like she is that important to it. So seeing her come back to WWE after 10 years, after her and her husband saying I'll never go back there, is super important because having them on screen elevates the product, in my opinion.
Now this. You were just bashing CM Punk not too long ago, talking
I
about
think
you don't
I
think.
think he's overrated in
Okay,
almost
thank
everything
you.
he
So
does.
don't say
But he
what you
does
just said.
elevate. But he does elevate the product. I'm not saying Punk is not important. I'm saying the wrestling fans, the hardcore wrestling indie fans who think Punk is God, overrate him. I think he's important. I think he's important to the history of wrestling. But he's not the guy he thinks he is when it comes to professional wrestling. He's not. He has always likened himself to being on the level of a John Cena. That's the way he's always thought of himself. He's not John Cena. He's not Bret Hart. He's not Shawn Michaels. He's not on the pantheon of professional wrestlers in history. But that's where he wants to be put on. He's on one of the pantheon of greatest independent wrestlers of all time. It'll be Punk, AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Daniel Bryan. I'll throw Seth Rollins in there for his ROH run. Kevin Steen, Sami Zayn as El Generico, the Bucks, Omega. That's your pantheon. That's where I put Punk. He's one of the greatest indie wrestlers of all time. As far as WWE, he's one of the great wrestlers of his generation. He's a top 2, 3, 4 guys of his generation. Him or in Randy, but he's below the other guys. He's not Randy Orton when it comes to WWE. He's not Cena. He's not Cena when it comes to WWE. You know who I compare him to on a WWE level? I compare him to Edge. That's the level of comparison. Edge had like 11 world championship runs during his WWE run. He was always in the
I
main
think
event.
Edge is
He was always
overrated
good.
as well, so that's fine with me.
But that's where I put him on. I just don't think that. I think Punk being on screen, he's always entertaining, and he's always fun to watch. But the the I'm leaving WWE because I never got the main event of WrestleMania the first time around, and my spot was given to Dwayne The Rock Johnson when it should have been me. It's The Rock, bro. Like Vince was never gonna give you that spot.
Mm-hmm.
So you left and you were salty, and then you told WWE, you told everybody for 7 years what kind of a no. It was 7 years before he went to AEW. It was 10 years before he made his debut in WWE. You told everybody for 7, 8 years what kind of a shitty place it was to work. You burnt every bridge you could, and you couldn't come back until you went to another company. You saw how shitty that place was run, and how and you burnt your bridges there, and then you were able to come back, run with your tail between your legs, talk to Triple H, and figure out this is where I really want to be. And now you see how it's run now,
I
and now
I
you
think
love it.
I think you have a
Like
skewed view of things. People grow, people change.
I understand that, but when he first got to
No, when you
AEW,
say things like tail tucked between legs, that doesn't show that you
he had
understand.
no other options.
He didn't
Let's
have
let's
any
put it
other
down.
options. I 100% agree with you, but tail tucked between, he has money. It's not like he needs to work, bro.
I agree with that. I assume. But he had no other options when it came to a professional wrestling standpoint. If he won, Punk's ego is such that I want to be on TV in some capacity, and I want to be praised by fans,
Yes.
whether it be him in AEW, him in
Him and as an
WWE,
analyst
him
for
him as
Fox.
an analyst for Fox, him as an analyst in some third level MMA fighting
Yeah.
company that he did from time to time. He wants to be on TV. He's an entertainer. I get that, but he wasn't coming back to WWE if Triple H didn't make promises to him that you're going to be one of our major main players.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't coming back just because he loves professional wrestling. Because if Triple H didn't tell him, "Don't worry, Punk, and by name and by pedigree, he deserves to be in the main event scene." I'm not saying he doesn't, but if he would have gotten a Rusev level push, the way Rusev is getting right now,
Mm-hmm.
or a Aleister Black level push, and that's what was told to him, he wouldn't have came back.
Mm-hmm.
He would have viewed it as you don't respect me, and I'm not, and I don't want to be here. He was
But
only
if he
coming
was
back for
getting
Main
that
Event.
kind of push, they don't respect him. Because look at how we be talking about Rusev and Aleister
I'm
Black in the
aware.
first place.
I
So
agree.
why? So then, what are you saying?
But he needs the assurances of being the guy. That's my point about Punk. He needs everybody to rub his back and tell him how great he is at all turns. That's where I see CM Punk.
That's what you're assuming. We don't know him. We're not there. You're going based off a bunch of Matt Riddle and all these other people
No,
who
Matt
bitch.
Riddle's a whole nother level of disrespect to CM Punk.
Like I'm saying, but we don't know. We're going by that because there are plenty of other people saying the opposite as well.
David said he's been much better in WWE this run than he was the first run.
Yes.
I'm also going on how he behaved himself in this first run and his AEW run. This is the history of Punk. Maybe he's a different guy. Maybe seeing how Tony Khan ran things in AEW changed his perspective on coming to WWE because by his own merits, he loves how the company's run. He wants to when he's done wrestling, he has said he wants to be the booker for NXT. So he wants to be the Shawn Michaels down there. He wants to work with people and he wants to help develop the next level of talent, which is what he also tried to do in AEW. But all of the people there said, F off, we don't need you because we're friends with the guys who actually run the company, so we don't need to listen to CM Punk. That's what happened in AEW, and he didn't like it. Again, they didn't play to his ego, but again, I understand
But
why
it's
he
also
so,
why is it
but
that it's the way you say things because you say ego and at the same
because
time
that is
with
ego.
stop. You're saying ego, but at the same time, if I've done all these things within the wrestling world, I command a certain level of respect.
There's respect, and then there's walking into a locker room of people who maybe the AEW locker room doesn't have the love for you the way they have the for love for the Bucks, right? Because the guys who are in AEW are Young Buck friends, Kenny friends, guys
Mm-hmm.
who have been there with them through New Japan, through Ring of Honor, through everywhere else. So they're like, I don't really need to listen to CM Punk. We got here and we built this company without you. And if I need advice, I'm gonna go to the guys who are, actually running the company. I don't need advice from you. And from all I understood was he tried to force his influence and advice on people, which is why Jack Perry didn't like him and Hangman Adam Page didn't like him. And then they blamed him for the firing of Colt Cabana, which he says he had nothing to do with, but they all blame him. So there was a sour taste in their mouths for Punk there. And then obviously he had I like to call it pipe bomb 2.0. He had the bad press
The
conference,
press
the bad
conference.
press conference, and the fight with Omega and the Bucks in the back, which really made wrestling fans say "f off" CM Punk. We don't need him anymore. But he's been much better in WWE because they run the company like a business and not like Tony Khan's playpen. And I think that's the way he wants it run. Because you could say the same thing about Vince McMahon years ago. He ran it like a business, but it was at the whims of Vince McMahon.
That's true.
And Punk didn't like that. He's like, we want everything to be logical and business wise. But everything was at the whims of Vince McMahon.
Yes,
Same thing
but
in
we also
AEW.
can't blame him for that because we complained about Vince for
Especially during
how
the later
long.
years.
That's what
Well,
I'm
during the
saying.
later years, yeah. Listen, there's Punk is a complex character. Like I, I can appreciate his character and work,
Mm-hmm.
and I can appreciate his passion for the wrestling business. And I also say is like if I was ever a professional wrestler, I envision myself very similar to Punk because I just say things and I don't give a shit about who I piss off. Like that's my personality as well. So I get it,
He should be your hero
but
then.
you would think, but no. But it is what it is. We got way off track.
That's
So
perfectly fine because if I didn't steer the conversations this way, we
we
would
had
have
a
finished that.
35.
It was way before that. It was like 22 minutes, bro.
No, when we started, it was like 30 minutes when we started the
Yeah,
AJ
but I
segment.
started skewing the conversations at 22.
Well, because there was not much on SmackDown besides
Which
the
is
two
my point.
segments.
I have to do these things when people be like, "Wow, they really get off topic." For SmackDown, there's no choice. For Raw, is
Well,
different because
one.
we have 3 hours that we have to condense into one. With SmackDown, it's 2 hours, and it ends up as a 22 to 30 minute podcast, and we can't have that. So we got to try to talk about other things while still staying on the topic of SmackDown.
Well, the problem with also with last night's SmackDown, it was a two-segment show, so
That's what I'm saying. It was like hour
we could
one
devote.
was John Cena, and I'm not going to
Yeah,
talk about Cena for an extended period of time when most of it was literally just him thanking everybody
yep.
and Sammy coming in and glazing and not getting to the point. And then the match was great. Uh,
Yes.
and then Brock. I mean, there's not much that needs to be said. So for
No.
that to take up half an hour of our show and then what, another half an hour for the rest of it, I'm not doing that.
I mean, I could talk about AJ Lee for 30 minutes if you want.
I
We could
bet
do
you
this.
can. We're good.
It'll be our best podcast of all time. It'll be our most viewed one. I guarantee.
Now, my question to you is, and again, it's off topic, but it is on topic. What's the difference between AJ Lee and Nikki Bella returning?
Because again, AJ, from what I said before, she's an actual wrestler. She can actually go in the ring.
We don't
Nikki,
know that. We know from
okay,
past.
if she's in the past, she
Yes.
could go in the ring. If she's kept herself in shape and trained, she'll still be able to go. We've only seen clips of her working out with Punk and the staged. I would say staged because it's professional wrestling. It's staged anyway. But the heels show the small run she had on heels.
Yeah.
So, but the difference between Nikki Bella and AJ Lee is Nikki wasn't away. Nikki retired, became a Hall of Famer, but Nikki wasn't. Nikki didn't stay away. Nikki would show up periodically.
That's
She
true.
was that Evolution, the first one.
That's true.
Right? She main evented the first Evolution with Ronda Rousey. She shows up. She's WWE adjacent without being part of WWE when she's not there. And the love people had for Nikki Bella was never. There were super Bella fans. I'm not going to argue that. But those super Bella fans are different fans than the AJ Lee fans, right? So when Nikki returns, wrestling fans are just like, I don't really need you. You're not exciting. You're not going to have a good match. You're not elevating anybody. You're not doing anything for anything except for having Nikki Bella on TV. The people who watch Total Divas and Total Bellas and fell in love with the Bellas, like yourself when you weren't watching wrestling, but you were watching Total Bellas, would appreciate.
You make it seem like I've watched seasons of Divas.
I just remember you telling me you watched Total Divas one time. I was like, you.
Yes, a few episodes I watched because of the fact that, again, it's a really good show. They tell you behind the scenes stuff. It's like Unreal before Unreal.
It was a fictionalized TV show because all reality TV is fictionalized.
Yes, but it told you certain things and why certain things were happening.
Okay. But AJ falls into a different category of, like I said before, she was the when wrestling fans were clamoring for something different in the women's division and not a 3-minute women's pee break, popcorn break match. AJ Lee was one of the ones who brought you that style of wrestling. So the affinity for her is so much more than the affinity for Nikki Bella. I don't know if there's another women's wrestler who retired who could come back to WWE to have the kind of reaction that people are giving this right now.
Well, I
don't even think
there's, if you think about people that you would suspect to get that kind of pop and then didn't, then you could talk about Trish Stratus because she's someone that wrestled. She was big in her time, but when she came back recently, she did not get a huge pop. But that's also because a lot of people don't know her.
But it's also it wasn't that long ago where she was there before. She was there 2 or 3 years ago when she was feuding with Becky Lynch.
That's true.
Where, like she's been around.
Yeah.
And people don't know her. When we talk about people, we talk about younger people who don't know Trish Stratus.
Yeah.
Our generation does. Younger fans don't. the 20-something-year-old who grew up watching WWE knows AJ Lee because that's the generation that they watched. So it's the Cena generation that they watched, right? So yeah, like I said, I don't know if there's another women's wrestler who can make a debut and it be that
I don't think so.
embraced. I mean, you could say maybe Mercedes going back to WWE, maybe she'll be embraced that way. Um, that's about it. I don't think Paige gets embraced that way.
I don't think
I
so.
don't. I think maybe Mercedes if she ever returns to WWE. That's about it. And that's only because I think Sasha's a huge deal, regardless, as a women's wrestler. But she's also she's got what used to be called X-Pac heat, where it's just like it's too much overexposure of her,
Mm-hmm.
and fans are tired of seeing her sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So AJ is important. As we'll see what they do. I'm in. We know Punk and AJ are going to win that match at WrestlePalooza. That's not even a given. What do they do with AJ Lee coming out of this? After the show, we didn't talk about this. After the show, she celebrated in ring with Punk holding Becky's Intercontinental Championship because Becky left without it. So maybe we do that. Maybe we do Becky and AJ in a singles feud.
Yeah.
Coming out of it, that would be the most logical thing to do. And that's when we'll see if she can actually still go. Because Becky could elevate wrestlers, not including of Nikki Bella from last week.
Mm-hmm.
But Becky can have good matches with just about anybody, and that would be a good starting feud for AJ Lee.
Mm-hmm. I agree, but that's also if they're keeping her around.
If they're keeping her around, if the rumors are true that this is a long-term deal,
Yeah.
So we'll see. But that was SmackDown.
That was SmackDown. There was nothing on this show that got me super.
Again, it was a 2-segment show, and it was AJ Lee. I woke up to my daughter sending me the WWE shop page for AJ Lee's shirt. This is what I'm saying. People love AJ Lee, and my daughter is 16 years old and never really watched AJ Lee wrestle. But when we watch clips of AJ Lee, she goes, "That's who I like." She's
Yeah, but that's also because of her style.
Yeah,
and her character.
Crazy. I always wanted to buy that book. I don't know why I did. The Crazy is My Superpower book was. It's not a wrestling book. It's more about about her journey through wrestling through mental illness, and it was always intriguing to me. But I never bought the book. Maybe I'll download it for free.
way to support, buddy.
I mean, if I look on Amazon, it's like 7 years old. If I look on Amazon, it's gonna be like $3. Like it's so. But that was SmackDown. So, what is your biggest takeaway?
I'm going with Brock.
It's actually $12.88.
Oh, nice.
On Amazon, by the way, so it's still decent.
You're going with Brock. I'm just going with Brock because, again, it was a SmackDown. It wasn't like a big thing, and he showed up, he destroyed, he left. That kind of gets me amped for the WrestlePalooza match. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean it was Brock and AJ. That's really it.
Yeah.
You know how I feel about Brock. Everybody who says wrestling is fake, I'm like, look at Brock Lesnar.
Yeah,
that is not a fake human being. That is a man who,
when he tosses you, he's tossing you for real.
Former UFC heavyweight champion, man almost made a NFL team without playing any organized football in high school or college. Like that's the kind of athlete he is.
Yeah,
like it's insane. So Brock Cena should be fun. WrestlePalooza is looking like a better card than Clash in Paris was.
But Clash was very surprising.
Clash in Paris was an underwhelming card,
but the show was
some
good.
really good matches.
Yeah.
WrestlePalooza, we're gonna get Brock Cena.
Yeah.
We're gonna get
the mixed tag
match. In ring return AJ Lee. We're gonna get Orton McIntyre.
Is that where we get Stephanie Io?
Yes, we got Stephanie Io at WrestlePalooza, and I think that's all they have announced for the show right now. But that's looking like a much better show. Stephanie Io is going to tear the house down. That's going to be the match.
Yeah.
Like that those women are going to tear that house down. Brock Cena is just going to be more of a spectacle than anything else. I'm not expecting a great match.
Yeah.
I'm expecting Cena to get destroyed in that match because Cena has no between WrestlePalooza and Perth, Australia. Cena has no advertised dates. Like he doesn't show up on SmackDown between those two shows. So how do we get Cena on both shows without him advertising?
So you think he takes a loss and then they
I
do a
think he takes
rematch?
a huge loss. I think Brock destroys him SummerSlam 2013 style, 16 suplexes, whatever he hit him with.
Okay.
And then they do the rematch at Perth where Cena wins.
Okay. I could see that. Especially if you wanna have a reason for his disappearance.
Yeah.
That's true.
But yeah, that was SmackDown. You got anything?
That's it from me.
All right.
All right, guys. So, as always, we appreciate you guys for watching. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, TikTok, iHeartRadio, and YouTube, whichever one you guys prefer. And we'll catch you on the next one.
Peace.